Hello, hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today, I know I say I'm excited a lot, but I'm very excited for this. It has been a long time in the making, and I just can't wait. So I wanted to film this back in, I think November. I saw on Instagram that it was the 20th anniversary of this iconic music video. And I remember when this came out as a youngin', and I wanted nothing more than this particular makeup look, and that's what we're going to do today. I have even grabbed a couple of hats to really complete the look. I've got two options. We'll figure out which one is best. And as my other Chasing Inspiration videos, I have not practiced this. This is not going to be a step-by-step tutorial. This is going to be kind of a learning process for you and me, see if I can achieve this look. I've pulled all the products I think I might be using today, so let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so I'm not going to do my base first because we're using a lot of black in this eye look. So I want to make sure that I keep my cheeks as clean as possible. I am going to go ahead and lay down some rose ink on my inner corner and eyelids. I like to keep that inner corner very bright. And also this will help keep a seamless look when we eventually do add our base on. And I do like to kind of extend it into here. I just don't want anything to be unblended. Frank got hype because that hat that I just showed, anything fuzzy like that, he just assumes that it's his toy. And he's really, I've had to hide these hats from him basically. And they've been out for a while because we'll get into kind of more of a get ready with me maybe later. There's just been a lot going on, so I haven't been filming as frequently. And like I said, I've been wanting to do this since November, so I've had to like hide these hats from him because he wants them in the worst way, you know? Then after I do this, I am going to set with just a little bit of powder, and I'm going to use the House Labs powder for that. It's also going to be a self-inflicted challenge today to see what brushes I can use because I'm severely backlogged on brush cleaning per usual. All right, now that we have that done, I actually do want to go ahead and put my eyebrows on just because I think it's going to help me see the full structure of the eye look, because this eye look is it's almost like in between blended and very graphic. It does have a lot of structure with the kind of white, the flashy in the middle, and then the black line. But the black line isn't super stark. It's a little blended. So I just want my eyebrows done to give this area some structure. While I'm doing that, I have to ask, do you guys remember when this music video came out? Were you as enamored by this eye look as I was? Because I know JLO has a very, well-known look that's like very bronzy, very glowy. This was just, I don't even know. This is up there for me. I honestly think that this is going to be a new series on my channel. And I'm just going to start recreating music video looks from when I was a kid that I wanted nothing more to wear, but I didn't have the makeup and or the skills. I don't know if I have the skills now, but I definitely did not as a, 10, 11-year-old when this came out. This song's a banger too. I don't care if that's an unpopular opinion. We love LL Cool J, we love JLO, and the fashion. I just can't wait to talk through all of this. So I'm just going to go in with my normal brows. Hers look fairly normal. I mean, this was the 2010s era, so. And I'm just going to run through with some Kosas Brow Gel. So just really my very typical normal eyebrow routine while Frank chomps. I think these things are called patty wax. Chomps on a patty whack. Hopefully that's what it is. All right, now that the brows are on, let's talk through eye strategy. Okay, so looking at her eye look, it is very, very white in the inner corner and up right underneath the brow bone. Then she has this very graphic, slightly smoked out wing that's extended into her crease. And then her lid honestly looks like it's a shifty, wet look shadow, but is very close to her skin tone. So we're going to mimic all of this as much as possible. So I'm going to grab a brush. I'm going to actually go in with this Eco Tools, what is this called? Precision Concealer. It's very fluffy and slightly angled, and I think it's going to lay down a lot of powder that I need to kind of get that brightness in there. And I'm going to go in with the Hindash Beautopsy palette with the tan lines on the white side of that first eyeshadow. And I'm just going to start building that white base up here. Now, Hindash's shades are not like Wopow pigmented off the back, so I do foresee myself having to build this up, and that is totally fine. I'm tempted to try it wet. I've actually never tried Hindash's eyeshadows wet, but I'm really just keeping it right here in that deepest hollow and then bringing it up over and around underneath my eyebrow here. Patting, see where we're at with that. I think we're getting there. Actually, I don't think I need to wet this. It's just, what was that, like maybe four times going back in, 5. Just really building that up. And that, I love this look too because it's so bright. That's probably one of the reasons I'm drawn to it. It's like 2 of my favorite makeup things, a very bright inner corner and a graphic, somewhat graphic line. I've pulled out so many things that I think I'm going to end up using for this, but it'll be interesting to see what I do end up using. Okay, I think that's good for kind of our white base. We can always go back and add in a little bit more. Now I want to start building that black line to kind of sketch out what I'm doing. And I have a couple of thoughts on how I want to do that. I think the Hindash is going to be a potential with the black shade in that palette and wet my brush. But I think I might honestly go in with my Mob Beauty palette here and use the cake liner in black and wet my brush, and that's going to act kind of like a liquid liner, but I think might be more forgiving than a liquid liner. So I'm going to grab one of my Katie Jane Hughes Spectrum brushes. I've actually been using it quite a bit right now for brown eyeliner, but I like this one because it looks like the shortest of the ones that she gave, so I feel like I have a little bit more control. I don't need to like flick as much as I need to be precise today. So this is the 22, the short one. And I'm going to grab my Fix Plus. I just lost all the footage of me doing this, so we're gonna walk through it. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I ended up using the Mob Beauty cake liner in black. See here, so you want to use whatever brush you're most comfortable with. I did end up using the Katie Jane Hughes Spectrum 22. I spritzed my brush down with Fix Plus, and then you'll kind of see the evidence of this, really work the brush into that cake liner, and it's going to give you a very almost liquid-like consistency. So I'm going to show you, spray my brush, and then we're just going to work it into this so that when you're ready, it's going to give you almost like a liquid liner. And the more Fix Plus and the more you work the brush in, kind of the cleaner the line is going to be. And what I did is, she does have a cat eye kind of extended into the inner corner. So I started there and then went with just a normal eyeliner line. And then I built my flick the same way I do with my liquid liner, brought that in, and then used that and went just above. If you see my crease, if I lift my head up, my crease is right here. So we went just above that, kind of 5/8, 3/4 of the way into the eye. Did the same here. And what I was just saying is, you do not have to be perfect with this whatsoever. This is just kind of laying the shape down. What we're going to do is go in with black eyeshadow and kind of set that, and also blow the edges out just the teensiest bit. So you do have, like you can see on this eye, I kind of drug and got not a great clean line, but that's okay. I've never done an eye look like this, so I'm so sorry about that, but that is what I did. Next, I'm going to go into Hindash in this black shadow. This is the Intra and Fatum, so I'm guessing this is Fatum. How do you say that? I'm not smart. And I'm going to switch now to a pencil brush. This is the Refer 3 and picking up that black shade. Or actually, because the Hindash is so nice to kind of layer and blow out, I kind of want to use that on the edges. So I think what we're going to do is go into this Beautypie and Patti Dubroff Quad. It's the Smoky Eye Quad. I really love the red carpet quad that came out. I really wish that they would take these out of the kit and let you buy just the shadow quad because they're fantastic. The other products in the kits are nice, but it's redundant if you've already been a Beautypie member. I wish they would offer these quads, but I'm going to go into that black shade on my pencil brush, and I'm first going to set what we just laid down just to give it a really nice, kind of more crisp black line and intensify that color a bit. And this is where the fallout is going to start, but it's black eyeshadow, and that's why we didn't do our base. So I'm almost done setting this wing. And then I'm just going for right now to run that brush right along where we drew earlier. And see, I am getting fallout down here, so we might have to clean that up a bit, but that's okay. And honestly, this look is probably going to be easier than we thought, just because it's not super blown out. It's just not super crisp. And honestly, this eyeshadow is going to be what does that for us. And then what's super interesting is they kind of built this corner in a lot like this, so that when her eye is closed, you get a lot of kind of smoked out volume on this edge here. So I'm going to build it just like that. We're going to stop there, do the same thing on the other side. Just going over those lines. I've been waiting to do this makeup look for over a month, and I'm so excited to be doing it. I hope it works out. And I'm going in with a very light touch here. And I did avoid fallout, and it's because I went super light and with whatever was left on my brush, so I recommend doing that, but we can always clean up. And then I am going to touch on that inner corner cat eye, which I've never worn my makeup like that. This is very fun already. I do need to intensify up here a bit. Let's do that. This is where the fallout's gonna come. Okay. I kind of do want to deal with that fallout. I'm gonna go in with this brush from Katie Jane Hughes in Spectrum. It's the 09, just kind of like a flat top brush, and see if we can like flick away a little bit. What's so funny is I took very, very close-up shots and screenshots of this while I was trying to figure out how the makeup look was done. And the creasing is crazy in that video. Like, just thinking back on what we had to work with, 20 years ago, makeup has come quite far. So I do want to continue to intensify this outer corner and just match those up. And I lay the product down, and then with whatever's left, I kind of tap it towards the center just to kind of feather those edges out a bit, but the rest of it's going to stay pretty stark. What are we thinking? I think now I'm going to go into that first brush and go back into that white shade and see if we can clean some of that up a little bit. And maybe this brush might be too big. Let's see. We are going to end up laying a different shadow down there, so that might help too. But I just don't want it to be black or gray there. I think we're getting somewhere. This is very exciting. Yeah, that brush is too big. Let me find. We're like at the bottom of the barrel of brushes. I'm telling you what. Ooh, let's try this. This is a good old trusty one. This is the MAC 242. This is a holiday, which is why it's SE. Again, probably over 10 years old, fitting for this tutorial or makeup look, not tutorial, because I have no idea what I'm doing. This side, we might have to bring in the big guns. We may. Just trying to cover up enough of that black so that it doesn't look gray. Honestly, I think that's not terrible. Not terrible. Okay, I am going to go into a clean flat edge brush again. This is actually the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill JH43. Man, Morphe, she's been in the news lately. You know? And I am just going to run along the black, just make sure that it's cleaned up. We don't want it to be super crisp, but we also don't want it to be too blown out. So finding that balance and then kind of blending a little bit in this inner corner, because when I'm relaxed and my eyes are looking straight towards you, I want this to really just seem like we built a ton of depth on the lash line. And actually, now that I'm saying this and looking, I am going to build it up just a little bit more right here. This is why it's important to look at the mirror with your eyes relaxed, because that's how people are going to be looking at you most of the time. You're not going to be like this, talking all the time, you know? And just make sure that those are fairly even. And it comes up at an angle that's flattering. So if I open up now, it just means I need to pat a little bit more there and a little bit more there. Oh, okay. Now we need to come to some sparklier decisions, and the kind of like, her skin is kind of almost left bare here. So I wonder if we do makeup surgery and that would help the situation. But the shade I was kind of thinking of is JD Glow Unexpected, because it does kind of just give you like a skin tone with a wet look. But I was thinking if that's too intense, we could reach into the Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes. And I'm going to grab a couple options here from the toppers section. And funny enough, I feel like this would be really good from the Makeup by Mario palette, and that's this center topper right here. What is that? EE7. But I think since we're going for it and we're going all out, I think I do want to do the JD Glow Unexpected. So I do want to stay as true to this as possible. So we're going to do a little makeup surgery with a Q-tip. Honestly, those pointed Q-tips would be very clutch in this instance, but I don't have those. I just have regular Q-tip. So I'm going to go in, and this is going to help with that black too. I'm just going to remove almost from like the edge of my pupil, not pupil, the edge of my iris over. So we are going to leave some of that in the inner corner. And I'm just cleaning up not where the black is, and that'll kind of help us carve in that line too. Yeah, because it is more skin tone on her lid. Me and Frank were just in a stare down because I don't want him to do what he wants and is trying to do, which is make a bed on my clothes. But to be fair, my clothes shouldn't be on the ground anyway. But I'm trying to plan a haul video. Okay, we're removed. I am going to take a clean Q-tip and just make sure that I've got all that micellar water off of my skin and it's dry. You guys, I feel wild. I'm so excited for like the full effect to be done. Because I want my skin tone to show through and that rose ink is a little brightening, I think it's good that we did that. I am going to take a tiny, tiny bit of the NYX glitter glue to help with this duochrome, and I'm going to go back in with that flat brush and just apply this where I want the duochrome to stick, which is going to be right where we just wiped all of that off. And I went in with the tiniest amount. Tiniest. Like, I haven't even used half of that tiny dot that I brought out. Okay. Ta-da! I'm going to wipe my brush off just on a microfiber towel here. Make sure that it's not wet. And we're going to go in with the JD Glow Unexpected shade. I love this shade. I have a whole video dedicated to this, which I will link in the cards. So I'm going to go into JD Glow Unexpected here. Pick that up with the same brush. I'm going to tap off just because it can be a little flaky. Oh no, Frank wants something. Let's see how far we can get. And I'm going to start tapping that on top of that glitter glue we just put down. All the way almost to the inner corner, a little bit past where that black line on the top stops. Yeah. See, yes, that was the best pick. I love this because it does flash some turquoise, but because the rest of her look is so icy, I think that it's really fitting. So again, a little bit past that black line, bring it in here. And it's funny because I bet if a shade like this was common back when they filmed this video, this is what they would have used. I bet that they used some type of like glossy product on her eye, and I bet you that's why there was so much creasing. Not today, you know? I'm wondering if I need to go in. I'm actually going to clean off my pencil brush that we used and just try to clean up that line because it is bothering me a little bit on this eye. Honestly, both of them. You know, what can you do? I'm just going to try to clean up where it looks a little kind of draggy, as in like if you drag your shadow and it skips, like it looks a little skippy, I guess I should say. Same over here. I also want to make sure that that the wing is totally blended here in this corner and there's no gaps of the black. Yeah, this is better. And I did end up bringing that line in just a touch, but thinner. I can't believe this is coming along, but it's making all of the redness really pop on my face. So it's going to be nice to get that out of the way. I'm going to grab a reusable cotton round and some micellar water. And I'm going to start cleaning up the fallout underneath here. I'm very red now. All right. And now we're going to start on the base so that we can get to the bottom lash line. Okay, before we jump in, I am glad I did my brows because I would probably feel even crazier than I do right now, but I'm going to make them just a little bit stronger. This pencil does lean itself to a softer brow, and I want it to be a little bit more intense since the eye look is so contrasty and intense. Just adding a touch more. Yeah, that's better already. Let's go into some prep. My lips, I can't believe I didn't put my chapstick on, so let's get some lip prep on. Today I'm actually going to go in with the Tony Moly Ferment Snail Lip Treatment Stick, Timeless. I got this at Ulta, you know me, and Snail Mucin. And it is a lovely lip balm. It feels a little bit oilier than a traditional chapstick. And there's it almost smells like, in a good way, it doesn't smell bad like the vitamin part of the Flintstones, but like the orange, kind of fruity citrus. It's not like a true orange, but it's like sweet citrusy almost. I really like that. Oh, and that feels so good. For my face, I am going to hydrate, so I'm going to go in with Phytosurgence Sea Submerge and Verdant Forfield like I typically do. So I get almost a full dropper. Pop that, which I have some glitter on my hands. Hopefully that doesn't come through. I'm gonna hydrate because it is cold and dry. Then go in with some Verdant Forfield. I do about 2 pumps of this, which is about that much. Oh, it feels so good to rehydrate your skin. Some days, if I don't have makeup on, I'll just do it at random, to be honest with you. And this is my second application of it today. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit a minute, and then I will go in with my Lip Tinted 3-in-1 Hueguard, and then we'll pick back up with makeup. Okay, so for the base, I'm gonna be using my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in Mont Blanc. Her base is very perfected. She is actually very highlighted under the eyes, has a decent contour, and then the lightest blush. I don't know that she has like super bronze skin beyond just her normal skin tone, and like she has a tan, so I don't think I want to try to go too bronzy. I'm actually going to be using the Makeup by Mario bronzer that I picked up because it's kind of that perfect adding dimension without looking like I pretended I was on a tropical vacation type thing. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to blend in this foundation, and then we'll get into concealer. Let's do concealer. Now this is why I like to lay down that concealer first, even if I didn't really use it in the center of the lid, but now you can see here and here in the inner corner of my eye is going to be more cohesive. For under the eyes, I definitely like to keep it bright to kind of balance the heaviness on top. So I'm gonna do a hefty dot right there, a hefty dot here, and then to keep the brightness, I'm gonna add a little bit towards the outer, which I normally don't do. And then I am gonna try to tone some of this extra redness by my nose down. And I think that's good. Plus it's keeping that brightness kind of right here, since this is slightly brightening for me. I'm gonna go in with the only really concealer focused brush that I have clean right now, which is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill JH06, and I was using the Seamless Buffing Foundation brush from Beautypie for my foundation. So I'm just going to blend this in and trying to keep it kind of local to where I laid it down and not cut into this kind of crisp edge that we have going on there. I'm just going to pat it and start to bring it down. Pat out the tip of my nose. That tends to be a little red, and on the sides of my nose. I don't think this brush is going to last much longer. Look how loose. Well, you probably won't be able to see, but the ferrule is very loose on this baby, to the point where I have to hold the ferrule. Let's go ahead and just do the same here, tapping, trying to keep it local and not go over that cat eye liner that we did. Am I coming together? And because she is so bright, instead of the House Labs underneath the eyes, I'm going to go in with the Westman Atelier and pick that up on. Let's use this as my powder brush, which is the Spectrum Katie Jane Hughes 09. I do really like the Spectrum Katie Jane Hughes brushes. And I'm going to really tap that in there, because we might even put a little excess powder down just because I want to avoid a ton of fallout that I think is going to happen when we tackle this under eye. And since she is so bright here, I don't mind if I look a little bright under there. So really packing that powder on, especially kind of right underneath the eyeshadow at the outer edge here. You guys, am I doing it? Oh, okay. Okay, now for her lower lash line, she obviously connects this kind of cat eye, and it is dark from that point all the way to this outer edge, and it all kind of connects to this outer V that we did here. And it's not too low, so we're gonna play around with that. For the sake of control, I'm gonna go in with an angled brush this time. This is Beautypie's Pro Angled Eyeliner Brush from their holiday kit, but it's just a typical angled eyeliner brush. And I'm gonna use Hindash because his formula is a little bit easier to control. And I'm gonna start by just doing a line close to the lash line here. And I'm gonna take a look and we're gonna see if we need to kind of build a little bit, and I think we do. So I'm gonna start at that outer edge of our outer V and start to kind of drag it down, just to create a little bit more rounded of a shape from this underside or this lower lash line, and make sure that it's blended there. And I honestly think that that's it. That's where we're gonna leave it for right now. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. So starting at the inner corner, I'm looking down into my mirror so that for me, you'll see I have lines and everything's kind of squishy there. So if I look down into my mirror, it's a lot easier to see. So if I look down, I'm just going to touch where that inner corner cat eye is, and then drag very close to the lash line. And this eye is a good example. So if I come in close and I look at you, you'll see that we have kind of a gap forming if I were to flick this line straight up, which is what I'm gonna do. So if you see that gap, that's kind of a cool look on its own, but for this look, I want it to be connected like the other eye. So I'm gonna go in and just kind of build that up so that everything is connected there. And kind of flick in because it looks like we could use a touch more black in that little area there. And there we have it. I want to smooth out this little area right here where it looks like I dipped down just a little too far. And I think we're done with that for now. I might go in and smudge it a bit with that pencil brush we used, this 03. Let's just do that, make sure everything's kind of buffed out and there's no patchiness. And now, if I can find my black eyeliner, we're gonna tightline and waterline. I just looked everywhere. Makeup bags, purses, closet, boxes, you name it, I looked. And I cannot find a black eyeliner to save my life, which I know I have Victoria Beckham and Linda Hallberg, and they're just nowhere to be found. So the closest thing to black I have is this very deep purple. We're gonna use that, and if I need to, I can stamp over it with some black eyeliner. So that's what we're gonna do. And that's on using what you have, because really we're just trying to deepen that up. And in person, you really can't even tell. But I am going to run a little bit more black around the bottom lash line just to make sure that there's no kind of skin showing in a gap between that waterline and shadow we put down. So I'm just going to blend right on like the edge where the waterline meets the outer lid. You can tell I don't work on my outer lid a lot because one, my eye is slightly watering, and two, I make the craziest faces. But here's where we're at with the eye look, and it looks like I got a little bumpy out here, so I'm just gonna try to straighten that up a little bit. Make sure we're all connected. Very, very moody. Now, in her picture, it almost looks like there's some sheen in this white, but it's like, I would call it a satin more than anything else. So almost like if I had a very smooth, kind of almost foily highlighter And I think we might go back into Mauve Beauty. So what you're looking for is just something that's going to add shimmer. Maybe not. Actually, what am I talking about? My favorite inner corner highlights are always from the Aether palette. So let's go into the Amethyst Crystal. I'm going to go into Amplify, which is this shade right here. Has a little bit of pink and purpliness to it, which I think will tie in well with the JD Glow Unexpected shade we used. But you really just want something that's a little shimmery but not super glittery, because you don't want to upstage Unexpected or that kind of wet look shadow that you use, but it's really hard to do with JD Glow Unexpected, so I have wiggle room, and I just want to add a little bit of satin there. What do you have? Absolutely not. When your dog tries to eat makeup packaging, and I'm just going to add it. I'm not going to go all the way over because it honestly looks like she keeps it just right here, so that's what I'm going to do, just to refract light a little bit right there, nothing more than that. No glitter, no color. I'm gonna leave that there. And honestly, I might go over that with just a little bit more white because we may have lost a little bit of that brightening effect. So I'm gonna go back in with that original eyeshadow brush that we used into the white. And just tap, honestly, right here, because this is where she looks the brightest. And I think we're done. Other than mascara. So I'm going to go pop on some mascara. Okay, I do want to fix one last thing, and then I promise we're moving off eyes. It's this spot right here. My eyes have trouble holding shadow there for whatever reason. So I'm going to go into the Beautypie because it is more pigmented with a pencil brush and just try to build up this area that seems to not want to take shadow. There we go. All right, and because we used mostly the Hindash, I think, I'm wondering if I need to build this side up to match. You gotta do the same on both sides, so I'm just gonna tap a little bit more black on that other side. Dang it, man. Okay. Because we use mostly Hindash, I just have a little bit of fallout from what I just did, so I'm just going to take whatever fluffy brush is clean next to me, and because we laid down extra powder, it should flick away fairly easy, and then we are going to go in with, I'm actually going to grab a brightening powder. You could go back in with the Westman Atelier. I have this, so I'm going to use it, and I just want to grab a tiny bit of that to further brighten this inner corner. I'm going to go right up to where we added that black, but not blending it any further. Yeah, I think once we get the bronzer on, you're going to be able to see a difference. So like I was saying before, a very perfected base, which I have. We're going to go in with the Makeup by Mario bronzer, but first I do want to contour because her cheeks are fairly cut in. So I am going to take the Patrick Ta She's Statuesque bronzer cream and just take that on a sculpting contour brush. This is again from Beautypie's holiday release. I'm just going to carve out my cheekbones. I'm going to bring a little up to the forehead just for kind of continuity of color, but we're really just focused on kind of carving out these cheekbones here. And then once I have my contour on, I'm going to go in with the Makeup by Mario Skin Perfector. This is the Skin Enhancer. I get these two mixed up all the time. Why they did that, I'll never know. And I'm actually going to go into this brush, which is from 100% Pure. e.l.f. has a very similar one in that rose gold kit that I rave about. I'm just going to add some bronzer over my cheeks. Again, I don't want this to be super bronze, so this color is kind of perfect. Blending that contour in and giving a little bit more dimension to the skin. And also kind of helping us keep that area bright. I'm going to go just a little bit under the chin here. Her nose is probably contoured. I just don't do that. So I'll tap a little bit of this bronzer on it and we'll leave it at that. For cheeks, I think I'm going to mix a couple of things. Hers is a very kind of like bright, light lavender pink. And if I had PYT Beauty Exhale, I would use that here. But I do have this lavender shade from Decorte. But I'm also thinking that Down Boy from the Balm is going to also be a little bit closer because this does still have some purple to it. So I'm actually, because I want to go in very light-handed because it is a very light blush application, I'm going to use a Duo Fiber brush. This is MAC 157, very old. I don't even know if they still make it, but I do love it for powder blush. So I'm going to tap off and I'm just picking up a little bit. And I'm going to lightly tap it first. Now her blush placement is going to be different from mine. Hers is kind of further back and high up. I'll put it there, but I like my blush. So where I think that purple might come in handy is if this translates a little too pink on my cheeks. But honestly, I think that this is exactly the look that we're going for. So do the same on this side. I love the Balm blushes, and I don't have to be as careful as I thought I was going to with this. And it is the shade that I'm looking for. I feel already like I'm from the 2000s, like the white and the black, and then, oh gosh. Oh gosh, oh gosh. Okay. Also, I didn't use fake lashes. They would probably look phenomenal with this look, but I just, as they say on Love Island, could not be, couldn't be bothered. So I'm going to go in with the Perfector and just tap over just because I do like that this blurs. I still don't know if I know that there's a huge purpose for it. And then we need to talk about lips. So it is a very traditional Thousands lip, which is beiged out, and that's all she wrote. I do have a couple of options for today, because I was trying to just work with what I have in my collection. And so far nothing's been new other than that Khol eyeliner, but I don't know what's going on with that. Okay, so for lips, there will be no lip lining. Okay, we did not lip line, or at least I did not. I feel like the 90s were heavy in it, and in the thousands we were like, no ma'am. So I do have the Decorte Shine Rouge in Hollywood Star, I think is what it's called. Starlet Story. I do have this. This gives just like a nice beige, really glossy lips because her lips are also very glossy. And then I also have a couple of options from Fitglow. In the center, I have Bare, which is, I think, going to be what I end up doing. But because these don't always have a ton of shine, I might add this shimmery shade Beam on top of it. And then I have B if I need to add a little pink back in so I'm not totally dead. So let's go ahead and see what Beam looks like on. This is no joke. And honestly, I think it's going to be exactly what we need. Sometimes I think I don't give Fitglow enough credit for the shine. They are shiny. I'm really loading this up, by the way. Honestly, we're getting there. I feel like it almost needs to be more more pigmented to be true to the time period, but I've built this up to the point where it's getting a little goopy, so I am going to blot it just a touch. I'm going to add a little bit more back on, but that was like, we overdid it. Actually, since there's not much of that left on, there's just a little bit of color. Let's go in with the Decorte and see if that is what we're looking for. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I think we accomplished the look, but I need to fully realize this look. So let's add the accessory. All right. So I feel like these are making a comeback anyway, but I do have kind of a more serious one, which is a faux fur beret from the Edit on Nordstrom. And then I also have from Amazon, kind of that like classic, almost box-like fur hat, faux fur, again in white. The tips have a little bit of brown. This one, I don't know if I'm fully adventurous for yet. I think we can make this one work. And I also think that this one is probably closer to what she's wearing. Hers is obviously real fur, and it's almost like a newsboy cap. Like, it looks like there's a bill in the picture. For the life of me, I could not find that exact hat, but let's see. Which also, this beret is adjustable. And also her shirt's very Thousands. I'm pretty sure it's one of those ones with like the sequin bow where it's white with the black bow. I'm just wearing white today. Oh my gosh. Am I JLO? Oh, my pride is all I have. Let me know. Frank can be LL Cool J. We're doing that in just a minute. Let me know if you think you're going to try to recreate this. Really, I think all you need is a white shadow, a black shadow, and then a sparkly shadow. I feel like the satin that I did over the white didn't really come through. So really you just need the 3 shadows, a black eyeliner, a pink, a very kind of like baby pink blush, and a beige lip. That's really all you need for this look. And I can't believe it took me 20 years to do it because I feel pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. And this hat, I think I would wear this hat. Let me go get my LL Cool J real quick. So it's like, oh, my pride is all I have. Pride is what you have, baby girl, I'm what you have. He's like too busy sniffing my lip gloss. Anyway, LL Cool Frank approves of this look. I think I feel very cool, you know? Let me know if you were enamored by this music video. Let me know if there are other music videos that had you in a chokehold for the makeup look, the fashion look. We're definitely turning this into a series. I already have 4 or 5 on my mind that we could do now. So we'll definitely be doing this going forward. I hope you enjoyed today. Definitely out of my comfort zone. First time ever doing kind of more of a precise look with a line coming into the crease, but it was so much fun to do, and I'm really feeling the JLO fantasy. Poor little Frank needs a haircut. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. I'm happy to be back, and I hope you enjoyed this. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.